Hello, General Biology, and welcome to the conclusion of Chapter 6. We're going to be looking at Section 6.4 and our ecological footprint and ecological challenges that we face. But before we do that, I'd like to start off with this video called Sorry.
Dear future generations, I think I speak for the rest of us when I say, sorry. Sorry we left you with our mess of a planet. Sorry that we were too caught up in our own doings to do something. Sorry we listened to people who made excuses to do nothing. I hope you forgive us. We just didn't realize how special the earth was. Like a marriage gone wrong, we didn't know what we had until it was gone. For example, I'm guessing you probably know it as the Amazon desert, right? Well, believe it or not, it was once called the Amazon rainforest, and there were billions of trees there, all of them gorgeous. And oh, you don't know much about trees, do you? Well, let me tell you, trees are amazing. I mean, we literally breathe the air they are creating. They clean up our pollution, our carbon. They store and purify water, give us medicine that cures our diseases, food that feeds us, which is why I'm so sorry to tell you that we burn them down. Cut them down with brutal machines, horrific, at a rate of 40 football fields every minute. That's 50% of all the trees in the world gone in the last 100 years. Why? For this. And that wouldn't make me so sad if it weren't so many pictures of leaves on it. You know, when I was a child, I read how the Native Americans had such consideration for the planet that they felt responsible for how they left the land for the next 7 generations. Which brings me great sorrow, because most of us today don't even care about tomorrow. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we put profit above people, greed above need, the rule of gold above the golden rule. I'm sorry we use nature as a credit card with no spending limit, overdrafting animals to extinction, stealing your chance to ever see their uniqueness or become friends with them. Sorry we poison the ocean so much that you can't even swim in them. But most of all, I'm sorry about our mindset, 'cause we had the nerve to call this destruction progress. Hey, Fox.
Sorry for the interruption. Let's try again.
Climate change is a threat. I dare you to interview the thousands of homeless people in Bangladesh. See, while you were in your penthouse nestled, their homes were literally washed away beneath their feet due to rising sea levels. And Sarah Palin, you said that you love the smell of fossil fuels. Well, I urge you to talk to the kids of Beijing who are forced to wear pollution masks just to go to school. See, you can ignore this, but the thing about truth is, it can be denied, not avoided. So I'm sorry, future generations. I'm sorry that our footprint became a sinkhole and not a garden. I'm sorry that we paid so much attention to ISIS and very little to how fast the ice is melting in the Arctic. I'm sorry we doomed you, and I'm sorry we couldn't find another planet in time to move to. You know what? Cut the beat. I'm not sorry. This future, I do not accept it. Because an error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We can redirect this. How? Let me suggest that if a farmer sees a tree that is unhealthy, they don't look at the branches to diagnose it, they look at the root. So like that farmer, we must look at the root and not to the branches of government, not to the politicians run by corporations. We are the root, we are the foundation. This generation, it is up to us to take care of this planet. It is our only home. We must globally warm our hearts and change the climate of our souls and realize that we are not apart from nature, we are a part of nature. And to betray nature is to betray us. To save nature is to save us. Because whatever you're fighting for, racism or poverty, feminism, gay rights, or any type of equality, it won't matter in the least. Because if we don't all work together to save the environment, we will be equally extinct. Sorry.
Hey guys, for the past several weeks I've been here in Africa, the heart of Africa, witnessing the horrific destruction of the rainforest, which inspired me to write this piece. Why are forests being destroyed at such an enormous rate? For this. Today we live in a world where destroying trees makes you money. So what can we, normal people, do about it? One way to directly fight the destruction is to stand for trees. By standing for trees, not only can you save the lives of trees, help forest communities, and protect the rights of animals to live in their homes, but you will also balance the amount of pollution that you yourself give off with your everyday activities, making you a part of the solution and not the problem. This is the option that I chose. But whatever way that you choose to stand for trees, do it. Because a wise man once said, when the rivers are all dried up and the trees cut down, man will then realize that he will not be able to eat money.
So like the Lorax, I stand for the trees. How do you stand? We need to conserve those natural resources, our forests, our water, everything that our habitat provides for us. And we are trying to meet ecological challenges. There are treaties in place like the Paris Treaty. There's Kyoto and all other things that are happening around the world in order to protect endangered species. We have organizations like CITES that prevents the distribution of parts of animals that are on the endangered species list. So we've got to do more of this. We've got to stop using the water bottles. We've got to recycle. When something is broken, fix it, repair it, not go out and buy a new one. Reduce our ecological footprints. There is a site that we're going to try to go to in class, which will see what our ecological footprint is. This describes the total area of functioning land and water and ecosystems needed to provide the resources for an individual or a population. It provides things like your energy, your food, your water, your shelter. All of those ecosystem services. It prevents flooding. It absorbs waste. It goes through the biogeochemical cycles, removes toxins, and changes those toxins into usable sources. And the way that most Americans live today, it would take 4 or more planet Earths to meet our resource needs. And that's just America. So think about this as I challenged you in the beginning of the chapter. I want you to be global thinkers. I want you to think that every action that you do has an impact on your environment. And if we start with just one person, it's going to cause a domino effect that will ripple through. You're going to be the voters in the future that will preserve the planet for future generations and allow those resources to be utilized. We have other options. We have clean air options like using wind and solar for our energy. I think what I might do is add just one more little video of some other pictures that might explain what impact the way that we get our fossil fuels have on the planet. Let me do that. I'm going to pause that. I'm just going to add a few more pictures. Okay, I added some pictures and we're going to talk about them. Fracking is something that I mentioned earlier, and this is where we drill down about 10,000 feet under our Earth's surface, and we put water and sand and chemicals in, and it breaks the shale formation, and this is the area that supports the Earth. It releases natural gas, and the natural gas is then collected. The chemicals and the sand and the water are put in ponds that are toxic ponds of sludge. Birds can land in them and die almost instantaneously. There's risks of groundwater contamination that can happen. Earthquakes in these areas have increased. This is a form of fossil fuel. It's a non-renewable resource. Scientists feel that maybe we have 120 years left of natural gas. So not too much left. This picture is what is called open pit mining. This is Rosia, Montana, before what it looked like. Nice little pond or lake, mountainous. And they created this open pit from this area. And this is toxic sludge, again, from the breaking down and the plowing and digging to get the coal out of the mountains for a fuel source. It's going to take hundreds and hundreds of years to get this area to look like it was before. So again, permanent damage that is being done. As far as coal is concerned, scientists feel that there's about 64 years left of coal. Here's another mountaintop mining. See pictures of these beautiful mountains here, and then they mine. They actually break down the mountain area, and they break it down, and this toxic rain or toxic water flows into the streams. Landslides have happened as a result. One of the things the trees do is prevent landslides. Again, a fossil fuel that only has about 50 to 60 more years left in availability, and we're destroying these beautiful habitats for it. And then the last three pictures are our clean, our renewable alternatives. When we take a look at wind power, notice that we can really maintain the landscape with this. We don't have to destroy the landscape, and these turbines can collect the energy that is stored in huge batteries and use that energy as a source. In Norway, a lot of the houses have these solar panels for solar energy on top, and Norway is running primarily off of wind and solar energy. They don't use fossil fuels. And notice the landscape. We're maintaining the landscape, and we're putting these panels on buildings that already exist. A lot of people that have these, they have very low electric bills because what they're using to run their house, their excess is going to the power companies. And the power companies are using that energy to supply homes that cannot afford the solar panels. And then there's hydroelectric from damming up water. Water has a lot of energy with it, and again, we can store that energy. These three are the renewable resources that we can use that do far less damage, but we have industries like the Koch brothers that are our oil companies, that they don't want to let go of that income and go to the clean fuels, so they pay our politicians to vote against these clean energy alternatives. We have to save our resources. We need to move towards these resources. Okay, that ends Chapter 6, and have a good one.